Got a different guitar to play today. My regular Martin is in the repair shop. I've got a problem with the electronic DI, which I wouldn't need for tonight's show, but it's being repaired, so I don't have it. So we're going to play this beautiful White Buffalo guitar given to me by my good friend Joe Verga. See if I can get a little farther from the camera. How about that? There we are. Whenever we measure life's greatest treasures, the simplest of pleasures is often most high. To hold and to cherish a love that won't perish, and to walk in the highlands with you by my side. Well, I remember the 1st of November, the frost on the heather. I followed the tide west through the highlands. Our ship sailed in silence, and never the highlands again have I spied. And how many lifetimes I've wandered since I took adventure, my bride. How many good lives squandered, victory and justice denied. At the end of my story, come fortune or glory, or only to answer for blindness or pride. If there's a heaven, one thing I believe in, I'll walk in the highlands with you by my side. And how many lifetimes I've wandered since I took adventure, my bride. How many good lives squandered, victory and justice denied. At the end of my story, come fortune or glory, or only to answer for blindness or pride. If there's a heaven, one thing I believe in, I'll walk in the highlands with you by my side. I'll walk in the highlands with you by my side. You know, that's the first song I ever played on one of these online Sunday nights. I went back last year and put together kind of a greatest, well, not a greatest hits, but like a reel of songs from my first year doing this that was broadcast on folkmusicnotebook.com. And that's why I remember now that that was the first song I played on one of these shows. All right. Well, I realized I haven't written very much new material since releasing Rants and Romance last summer. That's not that unusual for me to do that. I tend to in recent years do that. When I was a lot younger and was writing tons of songs all the time, I wasn't keeping all that many of them. I would just write them and play them a couple times and find something else. But as I've been making CDs and songs emerge as kind of favorites from those CDs, I've kept kind of a concert repertoire, and I change a few songs now and then, but there's also a regular bunch of songs that I play pretty often. And I find that I just don't have that much of an incentive to play new songs, partly because I often don't finish them until it's time to record them. I kind of drag my feet, wait until the last possible second so that I can do get the best song written out of the deal. So like when we did Rants and Romance, for example, I had sketches of songs, and it was pretty complete when we went into the recording studio, but I hadn't played that many of them in front of live audiences. Let's try this one. What's up, America? Ready for the big one? Are you lining up to vote for Jesus and Kingdom Come? Only the men to have authority, except for a few women and minorities who serve as their masters and polish their guns so they can go out and punish those reluctant ones with their election day hit squads and their psychotic judges, and then stand before you with a straight face like the boy who cried wolf and cry freedom. They cry freedom when they're taking it away. They don't mean freedom for you. They mean freedom for themselves to tell you what to do and your kids how to think. They're the ones that self-identify with the best decisions money can buy. And on elections they must personally run to serve the fetus in the gun, push other people around. All they do is bring you down when they stand before you with a straight face like the boy who cried wolf. Cry freedom. So cry freedom on election day. Cry freedom, make them all go away. Cry freedom. Everybody please, cry freedom. So what up, America? Ready for the big shootout? Open carry everywhere. That's what I'm talking about. What could possibly go wrong? Well-armed militias in every town, with a Bible and a fiery cross. There's some who'd call that paradise. I could say more, but I'm being nice. And why should I worry? Deep down I know they're just building him up to lay us all down low. When he stands before you with a straight face, like the wood cried wolf, he cries freedom. So cry freedom on election day. Cry freedom, make them all go away. Cry freedom, that's the plan. Cry freedom, take a stand. Cry freedom while you still can. Everybody please, cry freedom. Okay, song from Ransom Romance that I probably don't play often enough. Give me a heads up, somebody out there. Is the sound okay? Is it fading in and out, cutting in and out? Have that tunnely tin can sound, or is it okay? Thanks, Krishna. It's one of my favorites, Walking the Highlands. Sound is great. Good. Okay. Thanks, Mike. I just had an idea of a song I was going to play, and now I can't remember what it was. Oh, yeah. You wouldn't guess it, but I miss you so. You seem so far away, and even though we barely speak when we're both there, I miss you here and everywhere. It's late at night and I'm somewhere else. You're asleep and the story tells a man whose world is crystal clear. I miss you here and everywhere. over the mountain on virgin snow, along the cliffs where the seabirds go, across the distance you're still so near. I miss you here and everywhere. How can I tell you what I feel? The words serve only to conceal. I lack the courage to declare I miss you here and everywhere. The wind howls outside, the rain is gone. The smell of dead leaves remains strong. The seasons burn and love is rare. I miss you here and everywhere. I miss you here and everywhere. I miss you here and everywhere. Well, nothing like putting the harmonica upside down in the rack. Hi, David Emmy. What's going on in Philly these days? Actually, I was reading about the Phillies in the sports page the other day. Apparently, they have a zillion-dollar lineup this year of superstars. Sometimes, you look at the news and it seems like it's hard to believe that the world goes on turning while something that you're very concerned about just keeps on dragging on and dragging on. In my history lectures that I do music history lectures at the Lifelong Learning Program at Florida Atlantic University. In my history lectures, I'm often surprised to find that at the height of World War II, for example, there was a musician strike. The musicians went on strike, the labor union musicians, and refused to work on recordings. And one of the record labels made a private bargain with one of the the labor unions so that they could continue making records. In a couple cases, they made records with no musicians at all. They might have been, I suppose, one of the things that was at the dawn of doo-wop. But I think the Sinatra tune with the Pied Pipers was like a big hit. I'll Never Smile Again was actually during the musician strike. And they had 5 voices and no, I think no musicians on it. That's how they were able to get away with it. And of course, during the war, there were also baseball went on unabated, and some of the stars in baseball went off and enlisted, fought in the war. Ted Williams fought in both World War II and Korea. Was missed, I think, 5 years of his career, and still ended up being for many years the third leading home run hitter of all time, despite missing 5 years in his prime. Days of rain, when will it ever end? She stares out the window at the blackened sky. We watch the news of the passing hurricane, radar pictures of some giant eye. And the world looks very dark today, she says. Might as well go back to bed again. Make some coffee, read the papers, watch the news on TV. Make love to the rhythm of the rain. Make love to the rhythm of the rain. Days of rain, where does it all come from? Seems like yesterday the water was going dry. Fires are burning out on the edge of town. Even this won't be enough to get us by. And the world looks very dark today, she says. Might as well go back to bed again. Make some coffee, read the papers, shut the TV off. Make love to the rhythm of the rain. Make love to the rhythm of the rain. The weatherman says it'll pass us by this time. The big storm's gonna miss us, we'll survive. Someone else on up the coast will have to dig out from the damage. Someone else will be on TV saying, thank God we're alive. Days of rain, when will it ever end? Electricity's in very short supply. Lightless traffic signal swinging in the wind. No one driving, the water's still too high. And the world looks very dark today, she says. Might as well go back to bed again. Light some candles, make some music. Nothing much to do. Make love to the rhythm of the rain. Make love to the rhythm of the rain. Okay. Yes, the musicians strike. I think it ran from about sometime in 1941. So it may have started actually before the U.S. entered World War II, and but it lasted, I think, until about 1943. It lasted quite a while, if I remember right. I could have the details wrong, hard to say, but I think that it's about right. Um, and quite a lot of the big bands also went off to the war. Glenn Miller died in the war. His plane disappeared in a fog. They never did. I don't think they ever even found it, and was lost at sea. And Artie Shaw, the great clarinetist, he went to the South Pacific, and they flew him around for days at a time. But they didn't make him an officer. They made Glenn Miller an officer, but they wouldn't make Artie Shaw an officer for some reason, and they made him travel with the enlisted men, which meant that he could not uh, schedule a plane flight. He was constantly on standby, so he never knew when and where he was going to actually be playing because he would have to fly standby around the South Pacific from one island to another on military planes. Things like that, just little random facts that I've picked up from doing biographies of people. Artie Shaw ended up in the jungle in New Guinea where he got malaria and spent about 6 months in the hospital and almost died, and then came back home. Um, Al Jolson volunteered for service in World War II, even though he was, by that time, I think 60 something years old. And he went around and he sang on all the military bases in the Pacific Theater. And I think he did Korea again too, maybe, I'm not sure. But he came back, came back from, and had contracted basically exhaustion and pneumonia, and didn't live very much past the end of the war. Irving Berlin, on the other hand, went around and wrote a review called Yip Yip Yafank, I think it was called, about life in the Army, with a lot of funny songs, and it was an integrated unit. His was the first integrated unit in the Army. They went around to military bases in World War II and performed, and he later said that his time in the Army was the most thrilling time of his life. And then you got Tony Bennett, who was on the front line in the infantry and was one of the people who, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, was among the first group of people to arrive in Dachau in Germany in the concentration camp at the end of the war. Hey, let's play something since we're talking about all this. The general said, "You're young, I guess you don't understand. We gotta have these things in case it gets out of hand." I say, what if they aren't like you? Always got to be on top. Isn't there somewhere to end it? Isn't there some place to stop? What if everyone thought like you? The general said to me. Oh, what a vulnerable country we would be. What if everyone thought like you? The general said to me. I say there would be some peace. There just might be some peace. The broker said, "You're young, I guess you don't comprehend. These people are walking around, gotta have some money to spend. And how can there be any money if we don't sell the things we can build?" I say, why don't you build something else to use without having to kill? What if everyone thought like you? The broker said to me, oh, what a poor nation this would be. What if everyone thought like you? The broker said to me, I said there would be some peace. There just might be some peace. Stop the war, stop the war, stop the war within yourself. And you won't need to fight with someone else. Stop the war, stop the war, stop the war within yourself. And you won't need to fight with someone else. No, you won't need to fight. You won't need to fight with someone else. No, you won't need to fight with someone else. Yeah, you won't need to fight with someone else. Said you're young, I guess you don't see the light. It ain't what goes on during the day, it's what goes out to the people at night. The people, they like a good show, how can you deny them they do? I say, what does that say about us? And what does that say about you? What if everyone thought like you? The newsman said to me, oh, what a boring world this would be. What if everyone thought like you? The newsman said to me, I said there would be some peace. There just might be some peace. You know there would be some peace. There just might be some peace. Stop the war, stop the war, stop the war within yourself. And you won't need to fight it with someone else. Stop the war, stop the war, stop the war within yourself. And you won't need to fight it with someone else. No, you won't need to fight. Yeah, you won't need to fight with someone else. No, you won't need to fight with someone else. I know you won't need to fight with someone else. Stop the war, stop the war, stop the war within yourself. And you won't need to fight with someone else. All right. I was just talking to my buddy Grant Livingston the other day. Grant's going to be doing one of the Greenwich Village Folk Festivals later in the spring. And Grant and I were in a workshop together some years ago. We've been in several, actually. We're pretty good friends. And we were in a workshop at the Florida Festival some years ago, and I sang that song. And this man turned to me and he said, we're about it was a bunch of us sitting in a tent. It wasn't a big stage kind of thing. Turned to me and he said, "I just disagree with everything you just said," something like that. And everybody kind of jumped on him right away, and they said, "But do you support his right to say it?" Which I thought was pretty good. Um, and he said, "Well, I guess so." And he was pretty reluctant about it. And nobody wants to hear anybody talk about the opposite point of view from where they are. Really, it's not at all surprising that we don't encourage people to speak up when we know in advance we're going to disagree with them, I suppose. But he asked me why I just kept singing that line, "You won't have to fight with someone else," over and over again. And I'd never really thought about it. I originally kind of wrote this song a long time ago based on my own experience, but thinking that it would be kind of a Bob Marley song. It didn't turn into that. Musically, it doesn't turn into that. But that long extended part, I think, at the end, I realized that in that moment when I was talking to this guy, that that long part at the end was a bit of a meditation. It was like a sutra, something you say over and over again to kind of deepen your thought process. And I think that the song actually doesn't work without it. Without it, it just sounds like a statement. It's a good statement, but with the ending, for me anyway, it makes it real. It makes it sink in. I said that to the guy. He didn't get it because he didn't want it to sink in. But that's how things work sometimes. Hi, Allie. Nice to see you. How you doing? Well, Christian, you should write that song yourself. My song, incidentally, says "Stop the war within yourself." It doesn't say "Tell everyone else to stop the war," though nice as that would be to have that kind of power. I think you should. I think you should meditate on it and write a song of your own on that idea, and see where it takes you. I feel like singing some stuff from Rants and Romance if I can just kind of tune my brain into it here for a moment. I had to play 3 hours of Irish music this afternoon. My thought process is a little blarneyed at the moment. Well, let's do this song. I was listening to an NPR report. I listen to lots of different radio. I like listening to live radio in my car, and I have a couple 30-mile drives every handful of days. And I was listening to a report about how how polarized America has become, to where people in the same family don't even talk to each other anymore. And then today there was a woman being interviewed about a book she wrote, in which she has postulated a theory that we're far less polarized than we actually think we are. That there's no real interest in a story about how we're not polarized, and so the media don't cover that. The media, when they get to interviewing people about their political beliefs, they head for the extremities because that's where the colorful characters are and where the vivid language is and where the anecdotes of, you know, extremes are. And this author, who is a very reputable social scientist, said that she thought that far from being split almost down the middle or like 40-40-20, the 20 being undecided, she thought that it probably was more like 20-20-40, 20-20-60, or something like that. That the media, when they go out to cover a campaign or a primary race, they always choose the most extreme people to interview deliberately because that's where they think the fun is and where the readership is and listenership. I think there's something to it, actually, because I know myself that I have many friends who I don't agree with politically, and yet I haven't stopped being friends with those people. We generally are friends for other reasons. And with some of them, I can even talk politics and, have a reasonable conversation. And with some of them, I suppose this song was kind of a response to not being able to talk to them anymore. Hey, I am not you, I am me. You are not me, you are you. Is there a we in there? I'd like to know, so I can have some idea where this can go. I remember when you were just like me. We thought we were so wild and free. Now here we are, surrounded by all this noise. I know what happened to me. But hey, what happened to you? Well, I am you as I am me, as you are we, as we are all together. The Beatles said that, and no doubt it's true. I know what's happened to me. But hey, what happened to you? Down at the border, the children haven't bathed for weeks. Some say they deserve it. Are you one of them? Downtown, the water is covering the city streets. Some say it's an illusion. Are you one of them? Proven liars are occupying the halls of justice. Some say it's better. Are you one of them? Billionaires are buying the West while people go hungry. Some say it's their right. Are you one of them? Well, I am not you, I am me. You are not me, you are you, and I can't ignore the things you want to do. I know what's happened to me. But hey, what happened to you? I am not you, I am me. You are not me, you are you. Is there a we in there? I'd like to know, so I can have some idea. Hey, where this can go. Yeah, I am not you, you are you. You are not me, I am me. And I can't ignore the things you'd like to do. I know what's happened to me. But hey, what happened to you? I know what's happened to me. Hey, what happened to you? You know, when I recorded that, we had Robin Bateau in the studio, did a beautiful violin solo at the end of that song. I keep trying to find it on the harmonica. One of these times I'm going to get it. Thank you, Allie. They say you've got to lose before you can win. They say you've got to choose before you can give in. And you've got to cut loose to get back again. And it's a long way back home. They say you've got to fall before you can land. They say you've got to crawl before you can stand. And you've got to lose it all to get what you planned. And it's a long way back home. And it's a long way back home. When you're standing on some place you've never known. And I might see you where the rivers flow. Like me, oh, looking for a white buffalo. They say you've got to die before you can live. They say you've got to cry before you can give. And you've got to say goodbye before you can come back in. And it's a long way back home. They say you've got to seed what you're going to grow. They say you've got to need what you're going to let go. You've got to believe it's a long way back home. And it's a long way back home. When you're standing on some place you've never known, and I might see you where the rivers flow, like me, oh, looking for a white buffalo. So I say to you farewell, for we will meet again in the hottest flames of hell. I could only call you friends, and when you hear that final bell, do not ask who's round your end till you found your way back home. And it's a long way back home. When you're standing on some place you've never known, and I might see you where the rivers flow, like me, oh, looking like me, you're looking, you're just like me, you're looking, you're just like me, you're looking, oh, you're just like me, you're looking, oh, you're just like me, you're looking for white buffalo. Hey, let me make a couple quick announcements. Anybody that would like to know where the tip jar is for me, it's called Donate to Rod. One word, Donate to Rod at paypal.me. That's Donate to Rod at paypal.me. Some upcoming shows here in South Florida. I'm playing March 6th at the Northwood Arts Warehouse on the north side of West Palm Beach. I'm going to be doing that with 3 members of Big Brass Bed. We are probably going to also do a show at the end of May for Bob Dylan's birthday at the Funky Biscuit with Big Brass Bed. And on March 24, Sunday, in Hollywood, Florida, I'll be doing the Emerald Concert Series at St. John's Lutheran Church with my good friend Fiddlin' Rex Blazer backing me up. That's a ticketed show. It's certainly a higher quality event than a lot of local type of places, and probably my one main concert for some months in the Miami area. You can find tickets for that at rodmacdonald.net. Let me think what else. In the northeastern United States, I'll be up there in the end of May, playing on the 29th of May in Cambridge, New York, and in Stony Brook on May 19 for Bob Dylan Fest at the Long Island Museum, and on the 18th in Ithaca, New York. I believe it's at the 3rd Street Collective, I think is the name of the place, but you would find information for that on my website. There's a link for tickets for that, and only seats about 50 or 60 people. So if you want to come to that and you're in the Ithaca area, please do book it in advance. In June, let's see, what else am I doing? So far, I think that's it for publicly available concerts. In the summertime, in April, Mark, Dan, and I are going to Europe. We have 18 dates, I believe, so far, and they're on also rodmacdonald.com on the events page. And then in the summer, I'm playing a concert in Chicago on July 15, and in San Francisco, on June 15 in Chicago and San Francisco on July 17, and there'll be some other dates along the way on that trip. So check my schedule. If you would like to receive emails from me, send an email to rodmacd, RODMACD, at AOL.com. Thanks, everybody, for listening. I got to go. I've got my daughter, Elena, has to get up at 6:30 in the morning to go to school, and I don't want to throw her off schedule. We live in a kind of small, quiet house, so it's not possible for anybody to go to sleep while I'm doing these shows. Thank you for listening. I very much appreciate you being here, and I'll see you next time. I don't know when that'll be. Next time I have a Sunday night off, I'll pencil it in. Next Sunday night, the Greenwich Village Folk Festival will be here with Professor Louis, Carol Ann Solabello, Peter Kalo, Kate Taylor, sister of James and Liv, Miles and Mafale, Nick Carter, who's a really wonderful songwriter. Booked for Cambridge. Okay, Mike, good man. And ticketed show, that's Hollywood, California, Florida, not California, Maria. I'm trying to think who else is in the show next week. Well, it'll start at 7 o'clock. There'll be 8 artists, and I mentioned, I think, 5 or 6 of them. And I'm sure it'll be real good. That'll be online on Facebook and on YouTube. Thanks again, everybody. Have a great week. I hope I'll see you soon. I'll be backstage with the performers and watching the Greenwich Village Folk Festival next week. So come catch us there. And on March 10th, I'll be live on WLRN on Folk Acoustic Music on 91.3 FM. And that'll be with Michael Stock. And that's streamed to Facebook, so you can find that on Folk and Acoustic Music. Thanks a lot, everybody. That's going to be it for tonight. Take care and see you soon, I hope.